Deep in the heart of Francis Marion National Forest, which is in Berkeley County, South Carolina, just outside of the town of Bono, lies Gravel Hill Road. Shrouded in darkness and steeped in local lore, this lonely dirt road was more than just a road. It was a portal to the unknown. Since the 1960s, whispers of a strange, flickering light that grew into a brilliant, giant orb had circulated among the teenagers of nearby towns. The old-timers would say it was swamp gas, because what else could it be? But, as reported by a Santee Cooper electrical engineer who witnessed the light twice, said it was definitely not swamp gas. It always appeared small and grew very large and very fast. The brightness of it was described as almost crystallized, and so brilliantly bright that it reminded some of a giant blowtorch that would appear as big as a car at times, all in total silence. For those brave enough to seek it out, Gravel Hill Light promised an encounter with the unexplained, a glimpse beyond the veil of reality. For the youth of Berkeley County, a visit to Gravel Hill Road was more than just a thrill ride. All of the students at Macedonia and St. Stephen High Schools knew about the light. To drive down Gravel Hill Road and actually see it became a rite of passage, a dare whispered from one teenager to another under the cover of darkness. Armed with nothing but flashlights, friends, and youthful bravado, they would pile into pickup trucks and cars, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. The air would crackle with anticipation as they neared the location, each bend in the road bringing them closer to the unknown. When they finally reached the deepest part of the road, where the dirt road split in two, they knew that was the spot. It was also the spot where a 100-foot lookout tower stood that the fire service had built many years before. Stories of the light varied from witness to witness, but one thing remained constant. No one ever knew what it was or why it was there. In December of 1986, 4 friends, their names were Chip, Mark, Susan, and Rhonda, were driving down Gravel Hill Road just around midnight. They had all witnessed the Gravel Hill light in the past, but tonight was very different. The night was cool and dry and about 2 weeks before Christmas. As they turned onto the infamous road, a palpable sense of dread descended upon them. They had to drive slow because of the potholes in the dirt. The darkness seemed to press in, and they all sensed something strange was about to happen. They still had about 1/2 of a mile to go to reach the split in the road when they saw an approximate 6 feet in diameter, red glowing light in the distance, and it looked like smoke or fog was surrounding the red glow. Everyone in the car gasped, "What is that?" when suddenly the light turned off. Chip was still driving slowly towards the darkness when the red light appeared again, this time with a lone figure of a very skinny body standing in the road in a crooked position and not moving at all. One of the girls said, "Who is that?" when all of a sudden the light went off and back on in a matter of seconds. This time there were 5 figures standing in the road in odd positions, not moving at all. The kids could only see the outline of the bodies since the red glowing light was behind the figures. Chip then pressed on the gas and said he was going to find out what the heck is going on. This time the girls were screaming and pleading for him to turn the car around. Just as that happened and they were inching forward to the split in the road, the red light went out once again. When it started shining again just 3 seconds later, there were now over 10 bodies standing in the road, all in awkward frozen positions. As the girls were now close to tears, Chip immediately turned the car around in a fury and started speeding out the way they had entered. When they finally reached the pavement of Harristown Road, they sat in silence as to what they had just witnessed. They drove all the way back to St. Stephen without saying a word. They then began to ask each other what each one saw. They couldn't understand it and couldn't make sense of what just happened. Chip even asked if they should go to the police. As they drove around, they noticed that the vibe was off and everything seemed off. Everyone decided to go home because for some reason it just didn't feel like they should be riding around. As everyone said their goodbyes and went home, Rhonda and Susan called each other and nervously laughed about what could that have been. They both said they never wanted to see the Gravel Hill light ever again. As they hung up that night, both Susan and Rhonda said they felt like something was watching from the woods. They spoke very little about what happened after that night. Many people continued to see the Gravel Hill light after that night, although not to the extent of what the 4 teens saw. Years later, the county paved Gravel Hill Road and built a school there named Timberland High. With the increase in traffic and speed, the sightings of the Gravel Hill light disappeared over time. But there are still baby boomers and Gen X's that wonder if the light went away, or is still there, waiting. There were many rumors going around saying the light was connected to some deaths that occurred on the road, going all the way back to 1870. Others say it's because of the Gravel Hill graveyard that was found just sitting in the middle of the woods with gravestones dating back from the early 1700s, but those are just rumors, no one knows for sure. The mystery of Gravel Hill light remains unsolved to this day. Was it a paranormal entity, a trick of the light, or something else entirely? Whatever the answer, the legend continues to haunt the backroads of Berkeley County, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are better left unexplored.